I just do that so Carby panics. He goes 1, 2.
He looks pretty scared.
He does. Look at him. And he's so small, he's a digit. How you going, Facebook? And welcome to the Pubcast Show, little live feed. And thanks very much for loving the work of last week. We were at the Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar at North Melbourne, the early openers.
Wrong side of the arrow.
Well, Dickie, they would say the right side of the arrow. Really good mate of mine here, Dickie Gross. How you going, mate?
I'm good. That's a weak handshake, isn't it?
This is live. Ex-mayor, ex-deputy mayor.
No, current deputy mayor.
Well, I was getting to that. I was giving you how you've been sacked and got voted out and you're back, and still a shithouse handshake. Have you got surgery of that? Is there a reason why you're doing that?
No, I slip people a dead fish because I can't stand blokes who squash their hands.
No wonder you lost more elections than you've won. Thanks for joining us. And
I don't actually think that's true.
It's not Q&A, it's my show. This is how we roll, okay?
Okay.
We're only here because
I know.
You don't do Facebook Live at all very well. And I've noticed the same at City Port Phillip now streaming, which is like charting itself off the... But anyway...
it's a cure for sleep.
I've had... does Adrian Jackson watch that?
Who knows? I don't know who watches it. We must be hitting triple figures.
It's a private joke. If you are Southside, you know who Adrian Jackson is. I've had Dickie here, clearly.
Only just.
Very flamboyant. We're here because we're here on Wednesday night, Dick.
We are.
We do this thing called the Pubcast Show. Born 20,000 viewers, just bringing people back into a pub.
It's a beautiful thing.
What's some of your recollections about you in a pub in the early days of St Kilda?
Okay, so, I've lived in St Kilda for 30 years, more than that probably, and it's a different place. We used to have sex workers pretending to weed our front yard to escape the cops. We had, frequent heroin busts, and now it's gentrified and a different place with the music scene atrophying. But bouncing back, there's no doubt that St Kilda's bouncing back. So the Palais back, the Palace is gone, but Memo Hall, which is new, is back. The Espy's going to be back.
Prince is in a transition little fly
That's
back.
right. These are all venues that we love, and I've actually performed at many moons ago with the Additions.
No, I was about to say, were you in the Additions?
I was.
Free Negroes early band?
That's right, and also I did an opera at the Prince Band Room, based on the Beatles. It was a mixture of the Beatles and Puccini.
Yep. You mentioned some great venues, and we could go back to the old days when I first came to Melbourne from escaping the Jackie Peterson's regime in '87. So I saw a little bit the St Moritz and
since that time the venue's gone.
Yeah.
Crystal Ballroom's gone. So there's a few that are gone, but smaller street-based venues have grown up.
And some of the pubs, Dickie, you can't notice there's a big block of land just across number 1 Brighton Road and Carlisle Street, the Greyhound. It's pretty sad, isn't it?
Oh, look, it's a disaster. It's a disaster.
I don't want to put it in the spot.
No, put me on the spot. Look, it's a failure. So we're talking about the Greyhound. The Greyhound has been demolished, and it's a disaster, an unmitigated disaster for music, for LGBTI communities, and also for heritage. There's nothing good that comes out of the demolition of the Greyhound, and nothing good in Port Melbourne has come out of the demolition of the London. It's bad news.
And that's something that we really stress here on the Pubcast Show, is the fact that pubs and venues are really important to our communities. It's where people can go and see entertainment, go to trivia nights, comedy nights here. It's where people get to meet people. Dickie, do you know there's a thing called Tinder where people can meet online and they can go to pubs?
That's part of the thing. So Tinder and Grindr have undermined those venues because people go to pubs both to the noble things that you talk about.
To have a beer.
And also to hook up. And they don't come to pubs now to hook up. They do that online and meet at a safer environment like a cafeteria. So that's a real problem for pubs in Melbourne. that entertainment at home is so alluring, and also if you want to meet people, talk up, and let's face facts, that was a big part of...
That's why you went out.
Well, that's not why I went out, because I'm a good boy, but like, that's part of the scene, and that element has been disrupted by Grindr, Tinder, etc.
I challenge you also. I think that in a place that I lived, and I've also run in local council here, the fact that an area like this has so many backpackers, and backpackers have their bars, so the backpackers come and stay in the accommodation. They don't go out to
which are hookup central.
They don't go to these other venues. They just stay and they have their $2 champagne nights or the $3 vodkas and stuff like that. You know, so maybe in a yesteryear council they could have said, well, we don't need those too many backpackers, or you don't have a licensed venue with a backpacker accommodation.
Yeah, look, the grim reality of life as a local councillor is that you don't have that much control over planning. You have a bit of control, you're a bit of a player, but in the end, contested matters go to VCAT, and the overwhelming value of Victorian planning is that we have to squeeze lots of people in to a smaller space, and we're not going to listen to councils who are concerned about heritage, who are scared about the loss of live music venues, and then you have the change of people who live here who want to protect their amenity, even though they came here wanting a place that had amenity challenges, because, you know, there are venues with loud music. And so I can't stand people who move into an area and then want to change it to something blander, but that's the reality.
And I've heard all those arguments where people say, I've just bought a really nice apartment next to a pub, and it's a similar person that's bought a place next to a train line. Why don't they just put a pub next to a train line so these people won't buy these apartments near a pub near a train line?
Well, it's interesting, like, over the life and death of the Greyhound, a lot of money, like shitloads of money.
Plenty.
We're not allowed to say shitloads.
We can, you can say.
Shitloads of money went into noise attenuation with big, thick walls. And, you know, there are a lot of tragic elements to the demise of the Greyhound. You know, they put a lot of love into it, they put a lot of money into it, they put their heart and soul into it, and then they pulled it down. So it was sort of that whole circular journey from love, love, love to, okay, it's not making money. You know, I'm 73, I live in an apartment that I'm renting, I just need the money, and down it came. So, you know, the Greyhound is full of stories in its last few years, and they were uplifting as they embraced a diverse community, and then they became sad and, you know, ultimately destructive.
They get political and people kind of want to push their own barrows with it, don't they?
Well, you do.
How dare you?
You do.
We'll continue this conversation Wednesday night.
I've got nothing else to say. Don't bother watching on Wednesday night. It's going to be shithouse. I've covered it all now. Go away and think of something better to do.
Can we get Bondi and Brandy instead of this cloud next week? Thanks very much. Thanks, Dickie. Great to see you.
See you when I see you.
See you Wednesday.